The section we're starting today is on the cell and the microscope, and this introduction sheet, which says Life Questions, has some information but also asks some big questions about what distinguishes living things from non-living things. So for example, why is a slug considered to be alive but a rock is considered to be non-living, not dead but non-living? We also want to address what are the processes of life. What things do living things have to carry out? Now, living things are made of at least one cell. In fact, most organisms on Earth are made of a single cell. They've got to be able to make energy. They've got to be able to use energy. They have to be able to regulate their internal environment. They have to be able to take things in, get rid of them, have to be able to grow, and have to be able to reproduce. In the rectangle it says cells are the building blocks of all living things, and it reminds you that all living things are made up of at least one cell. So examples of single-celled organisms are bacteria and protists. Multi-celled organisms, well, you think about a human, and we are looking at being made of trillions of cells. It says 10 trillion, that number is an estimate. And one of the special things about more complicated organisms is their cells will differ. And you can see here I've made a list for all or many of the different types of cells we find in a human, from skin cells to hair to nerve cells to muscle, etc. And what's interesting is all of those cells came from a single cell, the fertilized egg called the zygote. And somehow from that single cell differentiation occurred, so it could become all these different specialized cells. A big thing in this section is we want to know the differences and similarities between plant cells and animal cells, and we'll see that in diagrams and also description of the structures. We have to realize in your case, and all human cases, we have cells being produced and cells dying all the time, but overall you maintain your life. There are other interesting questions. What mechanisms allow you to get to all these types of cells? What controls cell growth and stops it? For example, how come your legs are going to be roughly the same length? Things like that. We know there are some large cells, and there are also some extremely tiny cells, and we want to know what prevents them from being bigger than this crazy number, and what prevents them from being smaller than that number. Now that crazy symbol there, that weird looking thing that's almost like a that's a micrometer. In the world of microscopes we call them microns. Big questions remain. Where did the first cell come from? How did life on Earth start? And how does evolution occur? So that's our intro, and we're going to explore the cell and the microscope on our journey.